Test, 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 test. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? I need to put my glasses on. Change my thumbnail. Aye. Why is it too big? Sorry guys. As the live populates, I'm going to just editing my thumbnail real quick. YouTube is saying, oh yeah, that's why it's too big. Export. Let's try this again. And boom. Thumbnail. All right, guys, how am I sounding? We're streaming on the Lumix S1 II, straight through USB-C. So you guys are seeing my built-in LUT on here, and we are on the Lumix 18mm f1.8. Seems like I'm sounding good. Is that loud enough? Oh yeah, plenty loud enough. How's the quality though? All right, so I'm gonna pull up the chat here. Tuesday out and Vera are good. Ooh, my allergies. Just my luck. Right when I go live, I'm getting attacked by allergies. So Geeks Don't Panic said, I just got the Blackmagic 6K full frame and I'm trying to decide if I should get the Mantis or the Katos. That's exactly what we are going to go through in this live. You see, I have the Blackmagic Pixis up here right now. I have my Blazar Remis and Mantis here. So we're just going to go over everything together. And yeah, the Blazar Mantis did launch today. I'll just grab the 35mm. So the pre-orders finally launched. Let's see if, oh yeah, look at that. We got autofocus through, again, we're streaming through the Lumix S1 II, connected via USB-C. But anyways, the Blazar Mantis, finally the pre-orders launched today. If you guys order them today, you will save $200 per lens. So I think MSRP on these will be $999. That's funny. $999. But the early bird price today is $799. So again, you guys could save $200 on everything. Also, how do we have 6 likes and 5 dislikes? Whoever the hater is who's like spending money on doing bot dislikes, y'all are wasting your time. Anyways, with 39 viewers over here, let's show the haters what's up. Hit that thumbs up button. And yeah. So we're gonna get right into it here. Yep, the built-in LUT. This is my new Rambler film emulation LUTs. They go a little bit more for like a crunchier type look. But yeah, bitrate is a tad low. I don't know how I can increase that. But yeah. Yeah, J-Dog. The Mantis launched today. Totally forgot that they launched today. And you know, as soon as the pre-orders went, my YouTube comments started to blow up, and people asking, I don't know which one should I order the Mantis. So I was like, let me just go live because I don't have time to produce a whole video on this. So that's what we're going to do. I don't know. This is just a rental house. I'm pretty sure this is probably vinyl. There's no way it's real wood, which I prefer vinyl because obviously with all the gear and tripods and stuff, I'd rather not destroy a rental's flooring. Hey, bro, welcome to the club. Anytime the homies go live, it's the same thing. Indeed, coffee time. I got my Starbucks over there. Had to run over to the Morongo Res to pick up some stuff, so I'm just watching this for advice, man. Okay, so yeah, this is why I'm using the Pixis, because the Pixis has so many different formats. We'll go over full frame and Super 35 coverage. We'll go over 3x2 open gate and then also 16:9. And I have the Pixis directly connected to, you can see there's no lens on here right now, Yeah, I'm raw dogging them out. Sorry. Um, so yeah, we're gonna be able to go over everything, and hopefully I can answer all your guys' questions to see if you want to buy the Mantis or save your money for something else, or the Remus or the Katos. So yeah, when it comes to the mounts or the focal lengths for content creation, I tend to go for the 35 millimeter. For anything more narrative, short film type based stuff, or even like mini docs and stuff, 50 millimeter is like my go-to focal length. So yeah, maybe I'll slap the Viltrox Epic on there too. That's also a great lens, but totally different type lens. Let me grab my prescription glasses real quick because I'm having difficult seeing. I won't do. Hang on. Let me know where they're at. Let's see. Let's see. Glasses. Clean them. Also, guys, I'm gonna get this light on so we can flare out the lens, or attempt to flare out the lenses. Come on. Okay. All right. Let's get that beam on there. All right. I think we're ready to get into it. Oh yeah, blasting straight into the lens. I love it. All right, let's get into it. So, what do you guys want to start off with? Want to start with the Mantis or the Remus? I'm thinking you guys are going to want to see the Mantis first. Let's start with the Remus. We're going to start the Remus first. I apologize. Ooh, we got Lee Zavitz up in the house. Lee, did you get to try Chris's Mantis lenses yet? Lenses? I don't know why I've been struggling saying that word. All right, let's get into it. So we're gonna start with the Remus. It's hard to ask you guys questions live because there's a delay about the Almount Apex. Yeah, I hope they're coming soon. I haven't asked enough. Okay, everybody wants to see the Mantis first. Okay. All right, I hear you guys. We'll throw the Mantis on first. So let's start the 35 millimeter, and you guys will see what's so special about the Mantis. Now, my whole type of dilemma when it comes to the Mantis is, when I want the actual anamorphic crop, like that 235 to 1 or 240 to 1 final crop, when shooting in 3x2 full frame open gate on the Mantis, you will have to crop the top and bottoms yourself. Because even though they are cleaner and they still have beautiful freaking character in 2x bokeh, they're a 1.33x anamorphic. So moving to the future, I'm still going to be using my Remis and Katos a lot because those are true, 1.5 and 2x anamorphics. So even though the Apex are cleaner and have a little bit more juice on them, oops, cancel. I still like the true anamorphic look, which these are doing again, but I would say if you're on a 16:9 sensor, these things are going to be amazing for you. But if you are on a 3x2 open gate sensor, then your options are still, you can even shoot the Katos on those, and that's going to look great. So I just got this email in. I got to send this code real quick. 2 seconds. Sorry, guys. I'm not already losing my voice. Jesus. All right. Where's this lame dude at? 1 second, guys. Almost done. Jesus, I have too many DMs. It makes it hard to get important stuff done. Sorry, y'all. 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Okay. Back at it. All right, let's throw the Mantis on before I get sidetracked with more of the chat. So, let me switch cameras real quick. Why don't we have an image? T2. What's going on here? Oh. Oh. I'm an idiot. Lens cap was on. Okay. So you guys can see here, this is the Mantis 35 millimeter. And this is it. I wonder if I can do a side-by-side screen here. Do you guys want that? Or should we just keep going back and forth? We'll just keep going back and forth. So this is the Blazar Mantis 35 millimeter. You can see that's me racking focus there. Let me lock off this tripod. So that's infinity, and that's minimum focus. I will put my hand from here so you can see where MIMS is at. That's around minimum focus, right? I think it's right there. Where is it? About right there. So you can see that is the Blazar Mantis 1.33x full frame anamorphic on the Blackmagic Pixis. And we are in 3x2 open gate mode. Now let me go into the 6K DCI mode. So this is the image you're going to get when you're shooting on a 16:9 full frame sensor. You can see this looks like 2x anamorphic on a open gates like 6x5 sensor. This is what this whole lens setup is going to be amazing for. We can rack focus again here too. Oops, that's aperture. Back to infinity. Back to MIMS. So this is what these 1.33x anamorphs are going to be amazing for with the 2x bokeh is 16:9 sensors. Then again, I'll go back to the full frame open gate. That's full frame open gate. So you can see how much of the top and the bottom that we have. So in post, if you wanted this crop, you're going to have to crop the top and bottom off. So it feels a little bit wasteful, you know, to have to crop some of our resolution out. So if you're somebody who you want to deliver your image in that, you know, traditional anamorphic crop, but you're using a camera that has actual open gate, you're going to have to do that. But when it comes to everything else, say when I have to do commercial work and I have to do vertical and horizontal crops out of it, and I still want to, you know, get a cinematic look and kind of separate my work from the rest of the competition, these mantises are going to help with that. Now, let me throw on the Blazar Remis 33 millimeter so you guys can see what that looks like in comparison. After we go over this, I will go back to the chat here. Also, this is the size difference. So, gotta hide my face. Come on, there it is. So here's the Mantis and here's the Remus. And you can see they're pretty much almost the same size, kind of a totally different, no, they're pretty similar, honestly. But yeah, let's throw the Remus on here now. Front caps are the same. I do wish the Mantis, oops, wrong lens. I do wish the Mantis had black caps on them, but, you know, that's not a big deal. Get on there. Okay, let me change my squeeze. There we go. Let's switch back. Now, you guys can see this is infinity. This is the Blazar Remus 33 millimeter. So you can see you're still going to get a little bit more of that anamorphic juice. So even though this lens is definitely more dirty, here's minimum focus right there. So you can see they look really similar. The Mantis actually had a little bit more juice, but this is 3x2 open gate. So if you have a Blackmagic camera or a Lumix camera and you have 3x2 open gate, this is going to be great. This is going to, you know, the Remus is going to be a great option. But let me show you what happens when we go into 16:9 mode. You can see it's extra wide. This is not the traditional crop that we use for, you know, deliverables. Let me see if I could turn on my frame markers here. SDI. Grid, frame guide. So you guys can see that frame guide there. That's actually, that's your traditional anamorphic crop. That's a 2-3-5-1 crop that you're getting there. Let me get the flare out of the lens real quick. Yeah, just focus down there. We just block it. So let's focus on that on my amp there. So there we go. Focus peaking is on. Let me turn that off real quick. Yeah, because it's making it look extra sharp on the stream. So you see, that's the look that we're getting out of the Blazar Remis 33mm on a 16:9 sensor. And you guys are seeing the frame markers. That's going to be the crop you have to do in post. But this is how much resolution we're actually getting out of that 1.5x anamorphic. And again, we are in the 16:9 mode. Let me go back to open gate. So now this is the 3x2 full frame open gate. Let me turn on those crop markers again. So you can see we're just losing just a hint bit on the top and the bottom to get our traditional 2-3-5-1 anamorphic final crop ratio there. So let me slap on, we'll slap on the Mantis again. I'm gonna shield that light so we're not getting all that flare actually, so it is a little bit annoying. Love me some barn doors. I think I got most of it, hopefully. Okay. Nope, it's still there. Let me switch back to here real quick. Or maybe we'll just kill the light. Should we just kill the light? Yeah, let's just kill it for now. It is helping creating some separation. Or actually, sorry, I'm being annoying right now. Let me lower it. So I'm just hitting the amp. There we go. All right. There we go. Now we don't have any more flare. Let me go back to the Remus. A little bit of a flare still. Real subtle. Let me use that flag one more time. Open this up. There we go. Should have any more flare now. Yeah, there we go. Now we got a clean image. So you guys can see that's what our Blazar Remus looks like. And again, this is in the 3x2 open gate mode. And then here's the 16:9 mode. So you can see we're not adding any resolution to the sides. Again, I'm gonna go back to open gate. And you can see it's not adding anything to the sides. It's purely taking away from the top and the bottom. But again, frame guides, that's gonna be your final crop. So you're having to crop off the sides to get your traditional readout. Let me make sure that is a 2-3-5 real quick. Oh yeah, 2-4-1 actually. So it's like DCI anamorphic crop basically. Now let's switch back to the Mantis, and I'll do this live so you guys can see what type of vibe we're getting here. Okay. Let me change the stretch. So now we're at 1-3-3, and we're in the DCI mode. And you can see we pretty much have very similar looking juice on here. Make sure I'm focused. There we go. So again, this is the 16:9 mode, and those frame markers are still on. Let me go and turn them off real quick. Where did it go? There it is. So that's without, and that's with. So you can see in 16:9 mode, you're having to do minimum crop. But if we go back to the 3x2 open gate mode, you can see that's the crop that we're going to have to end up doing to get that traditional anamorphic look. So this is the two biggest differences between these two lenses. So if you're somebody that wants that traditional anamorphic crop and you have an open gate sensor, I suggest the Remus or the Katos. But again, the Remus and the Katos are going to have a little bit more character. Some people like to say defects, some like to say character. I acknowledge both. I call it character though. The Mantis are going to be cleaner edge to edge. We'll do a distortion comparison here next. So yeah, if you want a cleaner look, just go with the Mantis. Like hands down, just go with the Mantis. But if you want more juice, I would suggest going with the Katos or the Remis if you have a 3x2 open gate sensor. If you have a 16x9 sensor, the Remis are going to be okay too. The Remis are like the middle ground on it. The B set is my favorite. The A set, they're still great, but the B set has more sharpness to them on the Remus line. So that's the big difference. It's going to come down to sensor size. But if you do only have a 16x9 sensor, I would just suggest going with the Mantis because overall, it's going to be less headache. You're going to be able to still get that same look that the Remus and the Katos have, but with less distortions, and you're not having to de-stretch it so much. So let me dig the Katos out real quick, and then I'll show you guys the issue with 2x anamorphics on a 16x9 sensor. Let me dig them out of my ear closet real quick. So let's get the Katos out. We'll do the 40. Absolutely love the 40. Again, for the price, this lens is insane. If this lens was $10,000, I still think it would be insane. But I would say if they were going to price it like that, they would need to fix the edges a little bit. But the fact that I think this lens is like $1,200 or $1,400, that's just insane. That is like beyond cheap. Okay, let me get this set back up real quick. 2x or a 3x2 open gate. So this is the Kato 40 millimeter. Obviously, you can see we do have some vignetting here. I'll show you guys why. And we're focused there. So let me go turn on our frame markers. So that's your final 2:4:0:1 traditional anamorphic crop. So you can see on 3x2 open gate full frame, this 2x anamorphic is actually covering a lot. So if you're going to try to use that full crop, you're going to get vignetting. But if you're not, that's the crop you're going to get. Now let me show you the issue. If you have a 16x9 full frame sensor with 2x anamorphics, that's what you're going to get. You lose. Let me go back to open gate. That's open gate. You guys can see all that resolution up here that we're getting. Here's my finger right there. That's how much resolution we're getting. Let me go back to 16x9. You can see it crops so much out. You're basically throwing out so much information because once you turn on your frame markers, you're cropping out so much of the lens. I don't think people get it. 16x9 full frame sensors, the vertical height is pretty much the same as a film Super 35 resolution vertically. And so we're essentially, if you're doing a 16x9 full frame sensor, you're essentially shooting a Super 35 once you do your final anamorphic crop. So you can see how much, you can see right there on the edge of right here, where you can see where the crop is. It's about to crop out the guitar. Now, if I go back to open gate, you can see even with that final crop, you get all of this extra information on here. So you're gonna get more juice out of the anamorphics. So again, this is what the Mantis is fixing. Mantis is giving you the same type of 2x bokeh. I wouldn't say 2x character, but 2x bokeh. Because when you're stretching your image 2 times, you're going to get a bunch of added distortions on the edges of the frame, on top and the bottom and the side to side. So you're going to get a little bit more anamorphic juice out of there. Let's throw the Mantis on again one last time. Let's do the 50 millimeter. And then I'll start going back into the chat and answering your guys' questions. Come on. There we go. I'm just tossing these lenses everywhere. You go back to 1.33x. Okay. Switch back. So now we have the Mantis 50 millimeter on. And you guys can see we're getting a little bit more sharpness out of there. And that's our final 235 or 240, sorry. That's your final anamorphic crop there. You see the top and the bottom, and that's in 3x2 mode. So that's, if you're gonna, if that's the look you're going for, that like super wide anamorphic look, but you have a 3x2 obligate sensor, you're gonna be losing resolution. So let's go back to 16:9 though. So you can see with the frame guides on, you're just losing a tiny bit off the sides there. But you guys are going to see the image quality on this Mantis is, I would say another level up from the Katos and the Remis. Let's go back down. There's my coffee. It's going to minimum focus. Again, this is the 50 millimeter. And you can see all the anamorphic bokeh there. Even that gray wall, there's not a whole lot of color on that wall. You can still tell it doesn't look like normal 1.33x bokeh. It looks extra special. So again, that's the Mantis back on there. Now let's go through the chat. Let's see what questions everybody has. Let me grab my Confetti. Check my phone real quick. My phone's getting blown up right now. Okay. So let's see what we got here. They are, but they're shit from the US and we're trying to import fee. How much are the import fees? Also, guys, we got 81 viewers, 30 likes, 15 dislikes. Again, let's show the haters what the fuck is up with their dislike bots. Kind of crazy. Again, yeah, we had them on the Run of 4D on that track day shoot. Oh yeah, so Lee has gotten to try them. These lenses are great on they're great on the DJI Ronin 4D. The Katos don't fit on there. No, I never got to try them, but they might send me their Proteus zooms, which I'm beyond excited to try those. Because with the 2X, they got some character and juice to them. Hell yeah. I got my Starbucks too. I went with the hazelnut shaken espresso with oat milk. I like the brown sugar one more. That's rad, dude. Where was the films? Check, check. Oh, guys, I'm sorry. The audio's been coming through the MacBook. Check, check. Damn. It's not coming through the camera, so I probably sound like complete trash. How do I get the damn or is it coming through the camera? Let's see. Damn, it's not. Hang on. How do I do this? Ultra. I'm sorry, guys. I fumbled. Fumbled once again. In the S12, I probably don't have it set up right. Let me plug in the DJI Mini Mic 2 to the computer. Sorry, y'all. I haven't streamed with the S12 before. Also, it's getting hot in my house right now. I'm going to turn up the AC. 1 second. All right. Let's plug this guy in. Is that gonna clear? Barely. Okay. Check, 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 check. Let's see if I get this to switch to. It up? It's not. Allow. There we go. Boom. All right, guys. It sounds like it's probably really hot. Check, 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 check. All right, guys. I hope that sounds better. Sorry, I'm an idiot. Did not have my audio set up right that whole time. Once again. Okay. Why not just use Mantis with OpenGate? I hope that explained it. Let me get through all these first. Love the Mantis as well. Back and forth. OpenGate, please. Autofocus isn't grabbing your face. Bonjour. Waving. Hi, chat. The Pixis 12K I would definitely get for narrative work and mini doc work. Sorry, what's the ratio when using? It's 2:1. You get a final 2:1 aspect ratio, which I personally love because that's what I deliver all to YouTube. Because it looks a little bit better on phone screens and on TVs, in my opinion, and computer screens, like on every screen. Yep, yep. Rhett, my suggestion to anybody who wants to get access with a company, you need to make good content. If a company sees that you can make like high quality content, that's not just you sitting at a desk talking about gear, but actually going out there and producing cool videos that, you kind of prove to them that you can create high-end looking work, creative work. Brands will start sending you things, whether it's loaners or to keepers to do a video. There's a million ways to go about it. Yeah, that's, yeah. Again, guys, if you guys want access to gear, you gotta get out of your office, get out of your fucking bedrooms, get out of your mom's basements, go outside, create stuff, actually show your skills, show your filmmaking knowledge, and show value and high quality content. If you don't know how to make high quality content, then be better, do better, learn better. That's nobody's fault but your own. So possibly they're so cheap that, I don't know if a rental house needs them. Does that make sense? Has that flare in the middle? What flare in the middle? What are you talking about? Yeah, the Remus, they compared to the Mantis, they're going to look muddy. The Kato compared to the Mantis is going to look muddy because the Mantis has way less distortion. It's having to de-stretch way less of the image. And so, you don't get as, you're not manipulating the image optically as much. What up, what up, what up? Shield Team 6 in the house. Yeah, so you could see, depending on what, again, anamorphics, you got to pair them to according to what flavor and juice you want out of them, and then also what format you're utilizing. If you have OpenGate, you can use all of them. If you're stuck with 16:9, the Katos will be annoying to use, and you're having to lose a lot of that resolution and a lot of that juice. So the Remis are great for 16:9, but the Mantis now are even better for 16:9. In my opinion, especially if you're doing run and gun stuff on a 16:9 full frame sensor, the Remis all day are going to be the go-to. None of the Mantises balanced on the Ronin 4D, but they all worked on the 4D. So with that, even though they manually don't balance on there, you still have to go and the motors will still power them. But when you're accounting on the motors to keep them held up, obviously, if you're pushing the 4D too much, one, you could burn out your motors. Two, you're not going to get as smooth as of results because you're pushing them heavier. I have no idea, brother. I wish I knew too. I have not tried them on the GFX. I am actually really tempted to buy a GFX 102. I've been looking for used ones nearby where I could just drive and go pick it up. There's none available right now, so I keep looking. I have no idea. I highly suggest you do not buy mirrorless mount cinema lenses. I think it's really stupid for anybody to do that because, say right now, you have a Sony camera. Say if Lumix or Nikon or Blackmagic, somebody released like an insane camera for an insane price. You're gonna hate that you put $1,000 into a lens that you can't use on any other camera. So guys, please stop fucking buying mirrorless mount cinema lenses. I think it's beyond stupid. Get PL. PL, even PL through instead of EF. Was my audio noisy? I'm sorry, guys. Again, I wasn't I didn't have my mic set up right. So an OG Komodo, the Mantis would be great due to the sensor size. Yes. So if you're on a Komodo, that's a DCI type sensor. And so yeah, the Mantis or the Remus will look good on the Komodo as well. We've actually shot a bunch of Komodo X with the Remus, and I really like because the Komodo's crop is only 1.3x, so it's basically a Super 35 film ratio, and it crops into the Remus just enough to get rid of any edge distortion, so you get an even cleaner result out of the Remus on there. But yeah, now the Mantis, you're gonna get even more you know, quality, image quality out of there if you want image quality over character. Oh, sweet. Okay, that's good. That's good. Audio was good. Yeah, that was all through the MacBook computer. That's wild. Yeah, even the A-set Remus looked good on the Komodo. We could test focus breathing. You saw a little bit there. That's good. Audio has been good. Does audio still sound good? Let me tune back into my own live here and see how we're sounding. Let's see. Oh yeah, we sound good. Okay. Extraordinary. So the Mantis are good for open gate and 16:9 sensors, right? Yeah. Mantis is going to be great for everything. So whether you're on a 16:9 sensor or open gate sensor, the Mantis will fit everything magically. Let's see. I'm not getting paid to do this live. And even if I was, who gives a fuck? I'm taking time out of my busy day. I have a million fucking things to do. Last thing I want to do is talk about lenses some more. I have more exciting things to do. So if anybody has an issue with creators getting paid, guess what? Shut the fuck up, click off, go get a life, go make a movie, get off YouTube. And in other lands, when the product arrives, we get 21% VAT added, and the pricing of the items and shipping fees are a percentage of the total. 20%, not sure. Damn, yeah. So is that on all gear or specifically stuff from China and the States? I wonder if they're only shipping from the States. I get what you're saying. Sounds fine, but Cam hasn't moved in 3 minutes. What's up, Cam? They look great. Again, the Komodo X has a 1.3x crop, so you crop into the lens a little bit more and you get out of that distortion that they have. What's your opinion about anamorphic adapters? I hate them only because I hate fidgeting with shit like that. I like my rigs to be very minimalistic and easy to use and not having them get in the way. Or what are you getting? Or what are you looking at? I'm assuming the Mantis. I have not tried the Mantis on the Z8, but I've shot a lot of the Katos and the Remus. And the Z8 has 0 anamorphic support. And so I highly suggest that you get an external monitor if you're going to be using them on the Z8. Yeah. Yeah, since that sensor has such a fast readout too, it's going to help with anamorphics because you're going to get less wobbliness. But their IBIS, they don't have a mode to tune the IBIS to anamorphic. And so you need to make sure that you turn your IBIS off. Otherwise, it could ruin your image. Again, this is why I love Lumix so much because they are like They have the full anamorphic suite for us. That's what's up. Yeah, again, guys, the Mantis pre-orders, I believe, early bird pricing. I don't know how long they're going to hold the early bird pricing or how many units, but they're $200 off each. So instead of $999, you get them for $799. Yeah, so it's real simple. So say if you have a 50 millimeter lens, if you have a 50 millimeter lens on a full frame camera, you just want to divide it by the stretch factor. So let me see if we get the phone to. So I'm just going to go and put in 50 millimeter. Oh, might be, is it backwards? Sorry if it's backwards. No, it's not backwards. I'm tripping. Divided by 1.33x. So that's your horizontal width. So vertically, you still have that 50 millimeter compression on the from top to bottom. It's 50 millimeters, but from side to side, you're going to have more of a 38 millimeter lens. Again, with the 50 millimeter Mantis. The math is incredibly easy to do. It's pretty much that simple. Now, it could be 38 millimeters, but say if you have to crop off the sides, you're going to lose some of that horizontal width. That's where it gets a little bit more complicated. Tito, who runs Anamorphic on the Budget, that YouTube channel, he has a tool that will tell you the horizontal field of view. So just Google Anamorphic on a Budget, go to his website, and he has a bunch of tools that you can test out. I'm not sure. If you guys have any questions for Blazar, I highly suggest you join their Facebook group, because in that Facebook group, you can ask questions, and then somebody who works from Blazar usually can give you an answer there. Or just use the search tool, because somebody might have already asked that, and the answer might already be there. The 4D, does the 45 Remus bounce better than any of the other Mantis? I don't recall. I haven't used the 45 in a while because the 50 and the 33 millimeter from the Remis line became my go-tos. And both of those have worked. The 33, I don't recall if that works on the 4D. No, it does. We used it. But it's all the Blazar lenses is on the 4D are too heavy for it. So the motors have to hold it up. The only one that's not too heavy for it is the Blazar Beetle, which I will do a video showing that on the 4D at some point when I get time. Are you using in-camera stabilization when shooting with anamorphic? Sure, tips. I'm on Lumix cameras, yes, because you can tune the IBIS to anamorphic, to the exact D-stretch that you're using. For everything else, you got to turn IBIS off, because IBIS will ruin your anamorphic footage. Yeah, right, dude? How dare me? How dare me make money providing this information for free and entertainment? I do. Here, we could go back and we can show off some flares on here. Let me grab my flashlight. Don't know where that flashlight went. There it is. All right. We could probably just aim it this way now too, so you guys can see the setup here. Okay. So this will be the Blazar Mantis 50 millimeter on the Blackmagic Pixis. We're in 16:9 mode. I'm going to put it back to open gate. Get our full resolution out of there. Let me make sure we're de-stretched properly. We are. Okay. We're at minimum focus. Again, guys, you can see all of that bokeh. And we're wide open too. Now we're wide open. And here is our anamorphic flares. So you can see they look pretty freaking rad. We'll go from the edge here. There you go. If I turn down let's turn down a little bit of our ISO here. There we go. You guys can see more of the color. There we go. Let me check what LUT I'm running on here as well real quick. Let's go to the more contrasty Rambler LUT. So you guys can see, that's the Blazar Mantis. Actually has really fucking beautiful flares. Like these are starting to, you know, get onto that classic vintage anamorphic look. My only complaint is all the different colors. I would prefer if they were just blue, even blue and gold. But yeah, so you have a little bit of that green flare, orange flare, some blue flare in there. Now let me throw on the Remus so you guys can see what that looks like. So Mantis is coming off. And now we're putting on the Remus 33 millimeter. There we go. We're wide open at T1.8. Let me go to minimum focus. There we are. And here's our flares on here. See, we got some juice in there. I think I definitely like the Mantis flares a little bit more. They seem a little bit more bold on the Remus line. That could be a good and bad thing. A good thing if you want the flares. A bad thing if you shoot in areas that have a lot of light blasting into your camera, because that means this one might be a little bit more easier to flare out. And then we do have those rainbow flares. I'm not a huge fan of those unless I'm shooting something that's like vintage oriented, say like a vintage photo shoot or something. But honestly, you know, they don't look that bad. Obviously, I'm blasting a freaking flashlight into this, so it's going to look extra crazy. But yeah, matte box will be your best friend because the matte box will kill a lot of that edge flare that we're getting there. That's the flares. Let's go back to the chat. This flashlight's getting hot. Let's see what else we got. You're the only one who can do it. Could you please test the Blazar Neuro with the Lumix 1.8 lens, tight budget, buy more anamorphics? Yeah, I'll have to try it with the 35 millimeter might be too wide for the Neuro, but the 50 millimeter will probably work well. My only issue with using anamorphic adapters on, what's it called? Focus by wire, is it's hard to keep the lens at infinity focus, which is important for those front anamorphic adapters. So I personally hate doing that because you can mess up your shots really easily. Okay, guys, so that early bird discount for $7.99, it's only up to the 27th. So you got 7 days to get that discount. Sorry, y'all. Man, my allergies. Would you recommend the Mofage adapter? Yeah. The Mofage is like the main adapter that I use, whether I'm using the VND or hard NDs. I've been using their hard NDs more. Company I'm working with is trying to get a bit wild and do Animorph for live production shows, which Blazar would recommend for experience with S1 too. I mean, I don't know what the hell you're shooting, brother. The company I'm working with is trying to get a little bit wild. Yeah, I don't know what kind of productions you're shooting, so I can't really recommend anything. Burnt out my DJI RS Mini 3. I can't imagine that happening. How do you, were you being hard on it or something? Pretty sure that's still under the weight limit. Yeah, dude. I mean, they should, because the front elements are all pretty up close to the front on all those 1.8 primes. So it should, but again, it's focused by wire, so. No, so the Apex is different because that's an autofocus lens. I wouldn't call that a cinema lens. Cinema lens is obviously a full-on manual focus lens that we buy to use for cinema purposes, whether that's just for fun, for short films, for mini docs, just for the hell of it, whatever it is. But autofocus lenses, obviously, there's not PL autofocus lenses. That doesn't exist. So the Apex is a different situation. I even have the Sirui 40 millimeter and the 20 millimeter. So even for those lenses, yeah. Yep, we got 9 minutes until we're hour in, then I'm gonna dip off. Would you mind showing the 35 versus the 50 again on the Mantis? Yeah, we could do that. Let me throw it back on here. Let's get this down there. So this is going to be this is the Mantis 33 millimeter, an open gate. Let me grab focus right there. So that's what we're getting there. And you can see we're wide open right there. Let me open up the lens a little bit, or the ISO, I mean. So that's the 33. Let me center this up a little bit better. I think that should be it. There we go. So yeah, that's the Blazar Remis 33 millimeter. Let's go even lower. Let's go all the way down with our Sackler. Let's go back up. Let me try to balance this out. There. Back down. All right. So again, that's the the Mantis 33 millimeter. That's what we got there. Let's do flares real quick, and then I'll put the 50 millimeter on. So that's what we're getting. See all those beautiful flares there. Really cool stuff. Again, we're wide open. Let's do a panning test real quick. Let me make this horizontal. There's our panning test. Let's go back. Again, this is the Mantis 33 millimeter. And there we go. Now let's put on the 50, the Mantis 50 millimeter. All right, now we have the Mantis 50. So you can see how much more tighter that is. Let's do our panning test first. You can see that's more tighter we are. Again, we're on the Blackmagic Pixis and full frame 3x2 mode. So you can see they mesh up pretty damn well. Got that Pixis rolling shutter there. Oh my God. And there we are. Let's do a quick tilt. And again, we're wide open on the Blazar Mantis 50 millimeter. Okay, let's go back to our flare test now with my flashlight. And there's our flares. Again, for $70.99, $799 for the early bird pricing, this lens is freaking wild. Like, we are truly spoiled with lens options now. And again, Blazar is giving us all that juice. Here's the edge flare. So again, I always recommend using a matte box on here if you don't like the edge flares, but honestly, I never use a matte box on them. So I always have the Mofage Poco rear V&D on there. So, but yeah, that's the Mantis 35 versus the 50. Let's see. Mount for the rigs. No, I'm using, I have the Nissy PL adapter, and yeah, it's just mounting it to the mount that's on there. Nothing special. It's been working fine for me. I don't know. Fine in terms of how it usually works. It's not a perfect system for sure, but it is a handy system. I mean, yeah, if that price, if that price is a big enough of a deal to you, then get the Sure. The Sure 40 millimeter definitely does not look like anamorphic, though, in my opinion. So you know, it's probably a reason why it's a little bit cheaper. Do focus breathing tests on the Mantis 50. I appreciate it, y'all. I appreciate it. There's 46 likes, 21 dislikes. What's funny is no one sees the dislikes, and they're bots because they come in. You know, there'll be a random point in a live where like 10 dislikes come out of nowhere. So someone's literally spamming dislikes. Imagine being that big of a loser to do that. Blazar talked about bringing the Apex to L mount, but what's coming next in the lineup? Will they make wider? I have no idea. I have no idea. Again, guys, I'm not an owner of Blazar or something. I just love their lenses. Yeah, I'm a bit weird with how I set up my places. I am just as I am with, like, you know, I'll wake up and I'll put a t-shirt on, and if it doesn't feel like the right t-shirt for the day, I will change it. I'm very particular, and I'm just as particular when it comes to interior of my living areas. I got more coming now. You'll see. Yeah, I mean, for live productions like that, I forgot your original question was, bud. But I mean, the tighter focal lengths, that Mantis 75 millimeter is probably gonna be magical for stuff like that. With all the compression, you get fans in there and all the lights compressing all that, making it feel really cinematic. I think that'd be sick. But there's also the Remis 125 millimeter. That lens is pretty soft, wide open at T4. So, you know, if you like the softness, that's fine. But if you want something that looks cleaner, you're gonna have to shoot that thing at like T5.6, and then like low light events, that might not be your best option there. Hey, brother. Sorry we didn't get the link up, man. I would get the Mantis 50 personally. If you have open gate sensor, you go with all of them. It's hard to choose. Again, if I'm going to be delivering a project and that traditional crop, that traditional anamorphic crop, that 235 or 240 to 1 crop, you know, I'm probably going to shoot on the Remus or the Kato still. I still shoot on the Katos a lot, especially on the Blackmagic Pixis, and I have the 12K coming in as well. So I still use them a lot because, you know, they're the real deal. But if I need cleaner results, no matter what format I'm shooting with, the Mantis all day. If I'm on 16:9, Mantis all day now. Possibly. Again, it's information I'm not supposed to know. That probably all companies, including Blazar, don't know that I know. Good and bad about all companies. Obviously, Blazar keeps their prices very low, so I got no gripe with it. But some of these other companies are charging crazy high prices. You might want to figure out where they're coming from. Am I crazy for wanting to put one of these on my Canon film? Yes, you're crazy, but that also sounds really fun. I actually have a video coming out where I showcase the Hasselblad X2D and X-Pan mode, the Leica Q343 with the Blazar narrow front adapter for an X-Pan mode, and the Blazar Beetle on the Nikon ZF for an X-Pan mode. So stay tuned for that. Thanks in advance. Got to go. Right on, brother. Thank you for tuning in. I'm about to go as well. I think Mantis 6 too far. Yeah, probably. The rear elements on all these lenses is I don't know why I keep saying that. Lenses they all protrude a lot, actually. They all clear the Mofage Poco though. I don't know about other adapters. It would be great to compare the texture of these versus the new autofocus 1.33x. Yet they have Super 35, but would. Yeah, that's the biggest difference between the Mantis and the traditional anamorphics is the Mantis have very creamy bokeh, which is a beautiful look. But I still like that texture that you get from like 2x anamorphic. I would say the Blazar Apex lenses kind of still have a little bit more of that texture in there, where the Mantis have even more of a creamier look, still with the anamorphic bokeh though. It's very interesting. Yeah, that makes sense. I would also suggest looking at the used market, maybe on eBay for some other anamorphic options, was Blazar, Sirui, whatever it is, Laowa. Yeah, all I know is the Blazar, when it comes to the affordable anamorphics, the budget ones, Blazar is the only one that actually has like real anamorphic character that we see in movies and stuff. Especially the more leaning more on the vintage side. The new Mantis lenses are definitely the cleanest lenses Blazar has done. But yeah, guys. All right, I got a busy day, so this was just a quick live to answer your guys' questions on the differences. Hopefully, I did a good job explaining it and helped you guys figure out what purchases, or if you guys want to wait or buy something else. I don't know. Hopefully, you guys helped you to figure that out. But yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in, and that's it. Peace.